when you think about teenagers, they are a little bit like animals.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
behaving like how
Right.
the matured other people
Right. Right.
behaving.
Right.
So it was brutal. Like of course, we had bullies, eating the lunch of other kids. Eating, eating was just no more. Like it can happen just at any time. You don't know who's gonna
Hitting.
hit. Yeah,
Hit. Okay. Okay. So there
yeah,
was a lot of physical fights.
yeah. Physical fight. A lot of physical fight,
Okay. A
and
lot of
even
physical fights. Okay.
cartoon was all about fight.
Yeah, yeah, Canada too. Canada, the things that we would watch on TV
Yeah,
were just not something that children should be watching, and and brutal violence as well
right.
at our school. So it's strange. There's definitely kind of there's kind of a belief that the schools in Korea were are less violent. But I'm
No,
always
it
the
was
thing is
it was quite violent. Like
quite violent.
let me
Okay,
tell you,
okay.
even teachers themselves,
I
they
did
they
hear about
hit
this.
yeah
I
they
heard
they
about
hit
that.
students. One
I heard
time,
that was brutal. Yes,
I was
yes,
cold, and
yes.
my teacher started slapping me. This
Right,
like
right,
left,
right.
slapping like a left and right side, like uh that. Imagine the teachers are hitting the students,
Mm.
and then what is teacher telling students
Sure,
in a way
sure.
it's like you can hit with each other
Exactly,
basically.
exactly.
They
Yes.
don't say that, but it means to us we can hit with each other,
They
and
are
whoever.
leading by example. They're leading
Yeah,
by
yeah,
example, and
exactly.
they're yeah. So in a bad way, in the most
Yeah,
ruthless way. So you believe, and I believe this too, by the way that you just illustrated it, but you believe that the teacher violence on the students
yeah.
that made the students feel like it was they were more justified
It's
to
like a pouring
dish out
gasoline into
those
fire.
sure
Yeah,
yes yes
it
right
it, it
right
was already burning down.
yes
But then the teacher was like even encouraging this to happen more
right
often.
right right yeah
So that
I
was
mean
how brutal it was, and we
at
had
that
like a
time
mini gangs in every school.
okay okay
They were just a group of bullies,
mhm,
and the thing is that usually bullies don't just go around alone. They
mhm.
usually get together, and
Yes,
they make their own kind of like a mini gang group.
it's a cowardly approach. They
Yeah,
want
exactly,
safety in
exactly.
numbers.
Yeah,
Right, right,
and at the time, you some of the students, they reached the puberty earlier than other students, so
right.
they had a physically
Physical
advantage.
advantage. Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
And those were usually bullies at the time,
Mhm.
and those who didn't hit the puberty earlier were a lot smaller and a lot looking more like a child. So they got bullied a lot more, and they probably, some of them, uh, um, they carry this bad memory until the age of 40 and 50.
Right,
It's so
right.
sad that
Yeah, no,
the school
that's
experience basically ruined their almost their whole life.
right, right. Yeah,
They shouldn't have
people
been
are
in school.
recognizing that now. Like I notice in Canada, and Joe Rogan
Uh-huh.
spoke about that.
Hmm.
He's a famous uh
Yeah, I know him.
comedian, and you know him, yes.
Yeah.
So he spoke about he went into depth on a few of his episodes about bullying,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he analyzed it precisely the way you analyzed it, um, consistent with they feel it into their older ages, and people downplay
Yeah.
how much of an influence it has over their entire life.
Right.
and people downplay that.
Yeah.
And only now are a lot of societies starting
Mm-hmm.
to deduce
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it is a life
Mm-hmm.
sentence,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
injury,
Yeah.
like a brain injury.
Exactly.
Some of these
Exactly.
injuries
Yeah.
are throughout their life.
Yeah. Right.
And school bullying was always seemed to be on the back burner, and
Yeah.
nobody gave it the attention
Yeah.
that it really needed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, when I have child, I I either send my child to a private school
mhm,
where the class can only hold like up to 10 or less than 10 students, and
right,
teachers can get fired if they are not performing well. That kind of school I would send my kid. If I
sure,
cannot afford to send my kid to that kind of school, I will teach him even just a little bit of things that I know. It will
sure,
be much more helpful. I will
mhm,
probably focus more on finance than
mhm,
anything.
right.
That I want to make him already making money before he reach 18.
Wow,
So
wow.
he will make money online,
Right. Online.
based on,
Okay. Because
yeah,
obviously
online.
in Canada,
Yeah.
teenagers, they have part-time jobs, and I had part-time jobs as a
Oh, yeah.
teenager, but
I had
you're
to. Yeah.
talking about earning money on the internet
Online. Yeah. On the
through,
internet.
okay, that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
just so valuable if he was
Yeah.
able to have such a skill set
I will tell him
under
to
18.
invest. Yeah, right. I will tell him to invest in stocks at the age of like a
Right.
9 or 8, and he will see some stocks growing like a many thousands of percent over
Mhm.
the many years. So that kind of memory having, Warren Buffett, by the way, invests in his stock at the age of 12,
Right. Oh, at 12. Wow.
and
Wow.
he
Even at that
was
time,
able
because that
to.
would have been so
Yeah,
long ago.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
right. So he was able to witness like what's going on, just
Oh, he was getting,
witnessing
that's
the
what he
market.
was getting to feel. He was kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
taking the
of course.
temperature
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the stock market. Right.
yeah.
Right.
Of course he didn't make much money
Mhm,
because he was kid,
mhm,
but he was able to witness that long period of time.
mhm.
That gave him so much insight about
Right.
the market and what he
Right.
can do.
Right.
And I want to give such knowledge for my children.
Mhm,
And by having that, when they become already 20, they will be able to live life on their own
yes.
as long
Right.
as they can make money on their own.
Well, what you would be doing um, in such a case, you would really be designing them to not only earn money, but you would be building confidence, and you'd
Yeah,
be building confidence in a really enjoyable way.
right.
And that's really going to constitute them to take care of themselves, minus going through debt
Hmm.
like they would in university, and minus going through
Right. Yeah,
trauma. There would be
yeah,
less rejection.
yeah,
And of
yeah,
course, us growing up, we were always taught that we need rejection and we need to feel bad in order to become better people. And I do believe
I think
that
at some
these things are
degree
true
we
to some
probably need
degree.
it. Yeah,
We do, but
yeah,
with many societies, focusing on Korean society, there's just so much
yeah,
rejection. and
yeah.
and my sister said something very interesting about 6 months ago,
Hmm.
and it might have been a year ago. I guess it was the last time she visited here, and she said that her words verbatim, she said she's tired of hard lessons. And she was
Okay.
working in the oil industry for 10 years, 10
Oh.
consecutive years. And she has done very well. And she
Hmm.
she moved up the ladder, and
Hmm.
but a lot of hard lessons. And she is really wondering when her life is going to turn a corner, and when she's going to start to experience maybe a summer vacation or something
Mhm.
like that, which she never has. So
Oh.
she's tired of the hard lessons. And she
Mhm.
said life isn't all about hard
Yeah,
lessons.
it's not a
And
hard lesson.
and
We
and
weren't
and
born to have only hard lesson.
exactly,
We weren't
exactly.
born to be
Yes.
a slave. What a
Right.
lot of
Right.
Koreans, my generation, say is that I don't want to make another slave for Korea.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what a lot of my generation say is
That's
that
your
I
generation. Okay. Yes.
yeah
Yes.
I don't want
Yes.
to produce another slave for
Sure.
Korea.
Okay. So
It's
that's the
enough for
mentality.
me.
Yes. It's enough.
It's
Right.
enough for me. Like
Right.
they say
Right.
that I've gone through all this hard study,
Mhm,
going crazy study. Like
mhm.
you can see the students studying from like 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. or 12
Yes.
a.m. This crazy hardship we went through the at the most extreme level, and what working hard again after graduating.
Right.
It's been like that the whole life, and then they are saying we are tired, we don't want to make next generation suffering just like us, and therefore we don't want to produce another slave for this society,
Right.
and it's
Right.
enough for us, it
Right.
should end
Right.
here.
Well,
That's the reason why we have such a low birth rate.
I was going to say because that would it sounds like that's attributable to the low birth rate. There's so many reasons for the low birth rate, and there's so much animosity for Koreans that are born, between 1980 and up
Yeah,
until
yeah,
2000 or
right,
these days,
right.
because they don't feel like Korea is a place that is situated for them to have a family or have children. There's sometimes, from a Canadian or an American viewpoint, sometimes it's very complex because we sometimes see Korea, oh, so there's no gun crime, there's no drugs, the murder rate is so low in comparison to American cities
Yeah,
or obviously
yeah.
Brazil, or so sometimes it can be very hard to understand why they feel that way. So there's so much for a Canadian to dissect in order to come to the
Hmm.
mindset of a Korean. There's
Yeah.
just because it's a very, very intricate society. It's
Hmm.
so much different from
Hmm.
other societies because it looks so beautiful. It's so clean and it's so developed. But there's these microscopic problems that you can't see unless you have a microscope,
Yeah, I want to add
you know.
this to that. Um,
Sure.
so you as a foreigner,
Mhm.
I can easily assume that it's more enjoyable. Korea is more enjoyable. You can have more of these development that Koreans have developed. Uh, but you have to think about this way: how we have grown up
Sure.
to this point,
Mhm.
and so we studied hard, and then in case of male Koreans, they had to go through military service.
Yes.
They never wanted. I never wanted. I
Yeah, it's
wasted
brutal.
my
Yeah, I
over
never
2 years
was
of
on
my
par with
time.
that. Right.
It
Right.
was the time that I threw it to the garbage
Sure.
can. um, I cannot get that time back, and it's just waste of time. Like
Yes.
it's exactly the same feeling as being in jail. I've never
Yes.
been to any jail or prison, but I can somehow say that being in Korean school, being in
Mhm.
Korean military, and working in many Korean like these big corporations was like being in jail.
Yes.
And I wasn't born as a slave. So
Yes.
I wanted to end this kind of crazy cycle. So I
And I
decided
want
to
to
go.
add, I want to
Yeah.
add to that that was that was promptly after you finished the crazy schooling period.
Yeah, exactly.
So you finished the brutal
Prison. Yeah.
high school period,
Yeah.
and then you promptly you go to the
Military,
military service.
which is
So
a higher level of, I mean, it's even
yes,
more brutal in
even
a
more brutal
way.
than the high
Yeah.
school. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
So a lot of
right.
hardship at a young age,
Mhm.
and working hard for Korean society. So I can say that it's a great nation that Koreans have built. I
Mhm.
wish foreigners came to Korea and enjoy more of what we have done, and as well as the next generation enjoy what has the progress, what has already been made.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's through the sacrifice of a lot of Koreans. Um, so that's why, like, we as a Korean ourselves, we have so much trauma, mental trauma,
Yes.
going through all these crazy hardship,
Right.
and we wish we had never gone through this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, um, yeah, I think that some of the rationale for maybe enjoying Korea more than a Korean would be I have more of something to parallel Korea with growing up in Canada, so I can see the differentiation between Korea and Canada and what's good about Canada, what's good about Korea, why do I like Korea more, why
Mm,
do I like Canada more. So
mm,
so I'm able to find the differentiation, but also, I will acknowledge what is so clear, and that is that I would never survive the Korean school system. I wouldn't survive it. And especially being the oppositional nut job that I was. Like, I couldn't survive the Canadian school system. So of course I wouldn't survive the Korean. And so but what I am here now in Korea, all I do is absorb Korean society and
mm,
I read the newspapers every day, and I ask so many questions to the children, and especially the teenagers, and there's so much condensation in my mind because of all of the golden information that they provide me, and I want to know everything that they're
mhm,
going through. I want to
mhm,
know, and
mhm.
and I never want to um take advantage or anything. And I don't, I try to be on the same wavelengths as them. So that's
Actually, I don't mind that foreigners coming and enjoying Korea. I think that's
mm,
good thing.
right.
Everybody, most Koreans like that happening.
Yes, yes,
Um, and it should happen. I mean, more foreigners coming to Korea than Koreans going to other countries now. So
mhm,
it's good thing that it's
mhm,
happening that way, and
right,
we love it. We love to see other people coming here.
right.
Um, and like, probably the previous generation, the boomer generation, they
Mhm,
went through even harder life than
yes,
we had to go through.
right,
So the next generation will probably have much better Korea, and
right.
it must be like that. And so yeah, I wish everyone enjoyed the Korea, what it is now, and the future of Korea.
Yes.
And I will be proud of, as a Korean, I will be proud of it.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
You're proud what they built for the world.
yeah. I always appreciate the Korean service, the Korean system the Koreans have
Right.
built. it's just that dealing with Koreans is such a pain. They are so
Sure.
stressed. They
Yes.
get yeah. So uh, I sometimes wish I was a foreigner in Korea.
Sure. I've heard many Koreans make mention of that they wish that they were a foreigner. But I think that that it's such a peculiar nation that there's a lot to be proud of, and despite the hardship that you elaborated, I think that being a Korean is one of the coolest things in the world. I think that there's a lot of cool things about many nations, but I think there's so much to be proud of that
Mhm.
that they should embrace it, and they should embrace and correct it, embrace it and correct it, make it better, make it
Yeah.
better. What you're talking about is, yes, Korea
So
in
one thing
some.
that we have to make it better is the
Yes.
free children. Hashtag
Free
free
children,
children.
free children, free children. Yes, yes. Well, free children and have children, because obviously the birth rate
Yeah.
has hit just in just
Yeah.
astronomical low.
So low. It's so low.
So low. So
Yeah.
but is it going to be better for the next generation when you look at all of the obstacles with. I mean, it's not better when you look at the impossibility of purchasing a home
Yeah. Right.
and debt and everything else. So there has to be measures taken so that Korea survives the world.
Yeah.
So that everything
I
that
think
they put their blood,
the
sweat, and
yeah.
tears into will
Right.
survive. So
The house should, I mean, the condominium that Koreans usually buy or live in, it should be a lot cheaper than today. It should be a
right,
lot
sure.
cheaper that people can work for about uh, 5 to 10 years, and with the saving they can buy.
Sure.
And I believe it will happen because we build so many condominiums all over Korea. At the same time, the boomer generation will retire,
Yes.
already retiring, and the boomer generation will eventually go away
Yes.
from the society
Right.
when
Right.
when I reach 50 or
Yes.
over
Yes.
50.
Right.
Uh, then I think we will probably have a lot of condominiums available
Right.
for younger people. So I think the next generation will have so much benefit. It's also sad that people don't make baby. I believe
Yes.
those babies will grow up and will have so much abundance
Yes.
in Korea.
Yes. Right.
And the my generation, because they've gone through such hardship, they don't want to make baby, but
Right.
the next generation will take advantage of whatever we have done. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of a fascinating concept, because certainly, because we're talking about inflation, and we're talking about, the salaries are just not up to par with the
Right.
price of housing and
Yeah.
all these obstacles. But of course, in on the surface, but when you look at technology and you look at all the ingenuity
Mhm.
and you look at how advanced everything is, it's a spectacular place to live
Right.
on account of all of these incredible developments that are really peerless to many other countries in the world. Like it's other countries in the world, just they're not peers with Korea because they're such
Yeah.
more lowly developed. But so
I
in
wanna,
that sense,
yeah,
yes.
I wanna know a little bit about your son's opinion, because your son is basically the next generation that I'm talking
Yes.
about.
Right. Right.
So what is he experiencing, and what's the good things and bad things?
Well, he had a couple trips to Canada, so
Uh-huh.
he got a little bit of experience in Canada, nothing compared to his experience in Korea. But and
Does he
he
speak
got to
good English?
no, his Korean speaking is much higher than his English.
Okay, but
Yeah,
can he
so
communicate with you?
he can understand a lot, but he still didn't get over that fearful barrier. He's very shy with English.
Oh,
So he understands what I say, but he answers in very minute responses. So there's definitely a language barrier between him and me. So when we're talking um, regularly, we have to pull out Papa Go when we're
really?
communicating. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Because
have
there's a lot.
solution for that.
Yes.
Your son should spend time at least 2 years in Canada.
No, for sure.
Then he
Definitely.
will be
Definitely.
bilingual,
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That
fluent bilingual.
Yes, yes. Well, I was going to take him. I was going to take him when I was planning to take him a year ago, maybe March 2020.
Mhm.
The visitation that we're dealing with now with COVID railroaded all of my plans. I also wanted to take him on trips around Asia and because it was definitely that time to do that because I haven't been to Canada for more than 5 years now.
Wow.
So it's been a long time. So I'm
Right.
really uh, anxious for that. But he needs that. And I need to
Yeah.
find the right circumstance to do
Yeah.
that. So
Before he gets
so
too old,
well,
I believe it should be between now and 18.
I agree. I
That's
agree.
the
I
age that
now is the
they learn the
real
language really fast.
yes, really fast. Definitely, definitely. Yes, yes.
Yeah, two years is gonna be just enough for him to
Right.
be fluent.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, if when they live in a foreign country, they become so immersed
Right. Right.
so
Exactly.
intrinsically. So
Exactly.
and that happened with you, even though the Philippines English is not their
Yeah.
vital language, but you
Yeah.
communicated a lot of English to Filipino people,
Right.
and that really accelerated your
Hmm.
knowledge on English. So
Right.
so yeah, that's he'll get there. He'll get there. I think that traveling, that when I in retrospect, that's something I'm very thankful to my father about, was
Hmm.
having the
Yeah, you've been
occasion
to
to
many
go
countries when you were younger. That was
many
fascinating.
countries. And I was in those developmental stages. I was a teenager on all of
Uh-huh.
those trips. So I was picking up so much knowledge on their culture, and
Right.
so I think that it really,
I'm so jealous that you've been to so many countries when you were younger because
when I
I
was
was
young,
only in
yeah,
Korea. I was only in Korea.
right,
I always
right,
wished me being somewhere else other
hmm,
than Korea, just
hmm,
any country.
sure,
But my parents couldn't afford to send me
sure,
anywhere.
like many parents, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's that's maybe why you are so motivated to live the life you're living now and to be
Right.
so,
In a different
you know,
country.
explorative and yeah, in a different country and going all over the place. So that could be the reasoning, because you
The
really had
desire.
that desire at that time to do it, and there were too many roadblocks, and now you're taking full advantage. So
And I enjoy. I
and you
love.
enjoy.
Yeah, I love it, and I love living in different country.
Right,
It
right.
feels much better than living just in the same country.
There's
You know.
something, yeah, there's really something that it's hard to express, but
Mhm.
there's some energy that you
Mhm.
get when you're the
Yeah.
foreigner in another country. I mean, me in Korea, there's I feel like I have to cultivate myself more because I'm a foreigner. Like when I'm in Canada,
Mhm.
I'm more prone to gain weight. I'm more prone to eat bad food, and
Same
I'm
with me.
still going to the gym. I'm still
Yeah.
going to the gym, but I'm there's things that I'm not doing because I'm a Canadian. But
Uh-huh.
when I'm in Korea, I feel like if I did that, I would become a loser, and I want Koreans to kind of
Oh,
see
you
me
are
as
you
like
are you are in the middle of competition, basically.
well, and I want them. I
The
don't want them to say,
competitive
"Oh,
environment.
we get the losers." I don't want them to think, "Yeah, I'm competitive," and so I really want to sell myself more more appropriately. So there's a lot of reasons why, but there's something about being in another country where there's more of a driving force.
For me, the the choice of my country would be more relaxed countries. So
Okay,
when I
okay,
was in the Philippines, it was such a relaxed country that
yes,
everybody's, in a way, from my perspective, everybody was lazy.
okay, okay,
That's
yes,
in a negative way that I can put it,
right.
but in a positive way, I could put it. Everybody was relaxed and chill, and I loved it. And
But
I really
you,
wanted to be in the
in
Philippines
your
for a long time.
case,
Yeah,
there was an exigency for relaxation because you were
exactly.
bred in such a competitive country
Right.
where with total absence
Yeah.
of relaxation.
Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so that exigency was something you appreciated because you never experienced to
It
have
was
consecutive
the
days of
new fresh
relaxation. So
oxygen for me.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were able to in many respects you were able to find the attractive elements of the Philippines, and in affiliation with me I was able to find the attractive elements of Korea. So
Yeah.
so
A
because
lot
you
of
were
attractive women
identifying them.
as well.
Attractive women. Yes, yes. Yeah, the for me I always had an affinity for darker skin.
Uh-huh.
I always thought that darker skin was more attractive to me. Like
Yeah.
I
It can mislead because a lot of Koreans don't really have darker skin. They
they
are
don't have
probably a
dark.
little bit darker than Caucasians, but
Yes,
they are actually compared to Caucasians not so much dark,
that's true.
just about
That's
the
true.
same.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, Filipinos are another step
yeah, right.
in that the complexion is darker
Yeah,
than
right.
Koreans. So, but that's definitely my style. Like
Hmm.
I really I have to the words. So I really when I was a teenager
Tan
I
skin.
had well I had a strong liking for the African Canadian girls,
Hmm. Oh,
and I really liked the Indian kind
uh-huh.
of kind of look. So and then so that was always kind of more of my affinity was the darker skin.
Hmm.
So but I do think that all women are attractive. I think every nation has attractive women, but
Yeah, yeah, I'm
but
sure.
in
Yeah,
my
right.
in my character I was a little bit partisan for the
Hmm.
darker ones. So yes.
To me, the 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 most attractive ones were mostly white.
White. Okay. Okay. And I hear that a lot from Asian guys. I hear a lot of
Yeah,
Asian guys say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I also see a lot of attractive Asians as well.
Yes.
Growing up,
Right.
I liked Japanese girls and Korean
Okay.
girls, and
Yes.
Japanese girls were the most similar. So
Okay.
I naturally grew up with that kind of like of course at first we like someone who looks similar, like
Sure.
as a I don't know, it can be a little bit different depending on where we live, but because I was only exposed to attractive Asians only,
Yes.
especially Koreans and Japanese, not even
Yes.
Chinese, not even like these Filipinos or Thailand, only Koreans and little bit of Japanese.
Right.
So, uh, but then like traveling more after I grew up, I start appreciating the beauty of um, some white girls.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They're
And the some of the things that I can mention is that the eyes
yes. They
are
have
like
big eyes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love big eyes, see, because
Right.
I have small eyes.
Right.
Uh, and then their boobs are bigger.
Mhm. Right. Sure. Right. 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 Yes. Yes.
Butts are bigger.
Right.
So
So they have more curves. Their
yeah,
their
right.
their their anatomy is
Yeah,
more
yeah,
comprising the
yeah,
curve figure. Right. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't understand that like by looking at the actors and actresses on TV and on movies. Like
mhm,
I didn't really find it beautiful
mhm.
until I was actually in the U.S. seeing
You know
all
what?
these white girls.
I can really pacify that because when I always said, and I say this to a lot of people in Korea, because they talk about the celebrities and they talk about
Mhm.
singers and they talk about actors and actresses on the drama series, and I say, the most attractive women in Korea are they're at Bupyeong-yak, they're at Yongsan-yak, they're
Yeah,
at they're eating kimchi jjigae and sundubu jjigae in those restaurants. Those are in my opinion the most attractive. I mean, in my gym,
yeah.
they look like they were constructed right from God. They look so good. So I think that the girls that are kind of live like a normal person and they go
Yeah,
to the gym
yeah, they are
and they
more
don't wear
attractive.
too much makeup and their
Yeah,
hair is a little bit messy and
right,
they're joking around, they are the most attractive. And what I
right.
see on TV is so ostentatious,
Hmm.
and you see a lot of their appearance is not what it is in real life. And not to discredit them, because I think that some of these men and women that are on these TV shows, I think that if they weren't living so ostentatiously, I think that they would look better too. If they went to the gym
Have you seen
and
any celebrity? Yeah, like any Korean celebrity in person?
well, I'm quite familiar with a lot of the singers,
Uh, but in
and
person, have you seen anyone?
oh, in person. No, I've never seen it in person. No,
Oh,
no.
okay. I
But
saw
well, I've seen them.
one celebrity in the
Okay,
Philippines, the Filipino celebrity. She was
okay,
really pretty, and
okay, okay.
uh, and I didn't know she was celebrity.
Right.
And but then after talking to her a little bit, and then I left that place, and two people came to me and said, "You know that she's a celebrity. Did you know that?
Oh,
How did you talk to her?" And I did research about her, and then the photos. She doesn't look that like a pretty on photos,
okay,
but in
okay.
person, she looks a lot better.
Wow, wow. So that really corresponds with what I was kind of saying with they are kind of degrading their look on the
Yeah, I
camera.
think so. Yeah,
They're
I think so.
degrading it. and
Yeah.
and those degradations are kind of constructed by what the people in those industries think the public want to see. And
Hmm.
I think that's really bizarre. I think that's really bizarre. And but I'm really happy that you were able to find a correspondence with what I said with the Philip, because I totally see that.
Mhm.
And I think that's maybe why somebody like Jesse, the rapper, the Korean rapper from New Jersey.
I have no idea who is
Okay,
Jesse.
there's a woman. She's in her, I believe she's around 30, and
Mhm.
she's Korean descent,
Mhm.
but she grew up in New Jersey, and she's a really famous rapper in Korea now. She moved from Jersey to Korea when she was a teenager, and she's really famous here. And I think that her really transparent personality and her transparent style, I think that makes her kind of an anomaly among a lot of these artists. And I think it makes her more attractive and more likable to certain groups of people. Some people find her a little bit offensive because she says a lot of bad language and that, but so I think that there's a lot of value in just being transparent and being what you were born to be,
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
and
And
not being
I've
scared to eat the cheap
yeah,
jjigae, the cheap kimchi
yeah.
jjigaes in the restaurants. So yeah.
uh, uh, Often, I mean, I don't usually see those people, but um, when the Caucasian and Asian, like either Japanese and Korean mix,
Mhm.
like they are usually pretty and handsome.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, they are. They
In
are. Yes.
uh, Strangely, even both parents are ugly.
Okay.
Their kid is
Right.
often pretty and handsome.
Right. Right. Right.
I've seen many cases like that, and also many celebrities in Japan. They are
Mhm.
a little bit of mix of
Okay.
Caucasian and Japanese.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And you think that they're more physically attractive. Well, I
they are
see I
physically
see that.
attractive, and
Yes.
they're I mean, in a way that I think they are a little bit superior genetically,
Okay. Okay.
because when we think about intermarriage and then
Yes.
breeding,
Yes.
it always causes the children malformed. Their chin grows too big.
Oh, you're talking about
Um,
when it's within a family, when
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
right. Like
inbred.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
inbred. Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
and it makes so much sense that it's such a like a different uh, uh, place,
Mhm.
such a long distance, and
Right.
people marrying each other and then making baby like that. I mean, like I believe there's some incentive, like a genetic
Mhm.
or jet
Right.
incentive. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's that's a thought provoking perspective because there's certainly really unique features in people who are of mixed
yeah.
cultural backgrounds. And again, I don't think that they are necessarily more attractive than someone that's of full culture, but they certainly have
They are
features.
more attractive, usually.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Usually,
Well,
yeah,
they usually look good. They usually
yeah.
look very good, and they I think that they have something that might make them appear more attractive would be the features that they would possess
Mhm.
would be very unique. Like I think that when you see a Asian and a white mixed. Like my son he has big eye, but he still has that Korean slant. So
Okay,
there's like a shape of the Korean eye, and
okay,
it's kind of hard to describe. But
okay.
but my son he has that
Uh-huh.
shape,
Okay.
but it's also big.
Uh-huh.
So he kind of has
Wow.
both the Caucasian and the
Uh-huh.
Asian feature in some ways.
I think that's
So
attractive.
it,
Yeah,
it is attractive. It is
because
attractive.
that's
Yeah,
unique,
yeah.
and at the
It's
same time,
because it's unique.
Koreans appreciate the bigger eyes, and
right,
he
they
he
do,
has
they
both.
do.
Yeah.
Right, that's right, that's right. So but yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting background, especially if you're able to comprehend both cultures throughout your
Mhm.
life. If you were
Mhm.
able to, that's
The
one.
upbringing will be different story. Like
Upbringing is totally
yeah,
different story.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's
And
relies
usually
on where.
those mix the people they
Mhm.
kind of struggle
Yes.
um
Well, yes,
in
I
a
noticed that.
society.
I
They
noticed that.
usually can't fit in either society,
I
and
noticed that. Yes.
they have a difficulty in identifying who they are,
Sure.
like who I am,
Sure.
these things like that.
Sure.
But I think that's because they are a kind of minority.
Sure.
But at some point, we will have so many mix in the
That's right.
future. It
That's
is
right.
going to be the trend. We can't
Yes.
even stop.
Yes.
So in the
Yes.
future, there will be a lot more mixed children.
Yes.
Uh, um, so it's going to be hard to identify who's
Well,
like
that's
what.
Toronto in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Because with
Oh.
something that's um, so differentiating about Toronto is that, well, if you look at, let's say, Halifax, Nova Scotia, or Vancouver, um, they have a lot of diversity, but it
Mhm.
the diversity is subjected. So you say, okay, those are Koreans, those are Africans, but in Toronto, everyone's mixed.
Oh.
So you don't know
Wow.
what people are. So you see so many Asian and black mix and Indian and
Wow.
Asian mix. And so when you walk through Toronto, not only do you see all these people from all these countries, but you have these huge ratios of mixed people too.
I love the mix.
So
I think that
yeah,
should be encouraged, and
yeah,
then the
yes,
more race should be mixed in the future.
right, right,
And
yes,
yeah, I totally encourage anyone to do that.
right, right, right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
and you
It
did that
certainly.
successfully.
Right, right. Well, somewhat successfully. Somewhat, yes, yes, yes. It's a lot of moving parts, but having children is you're dealing with constant moving parts, and so is life. So we have to learn how to immobilize all of these volatile objects. So yes.